There we go. Finally, I can see the chat. Some stupid setting I had to turn on. It's really weird though how it does that. Finally, I can see the chat. Some stupid setting I had to turn on. It's really weird though how it does that. Finally, I can see the chat. Some stupid setting I had to turn on. It's really weird though
out the
how it
stream.
does that. Finally, I can see the chat. Some stupid setting I had to turn on. It's really weird though
out
how
the
it does
stream.
that. Finally, I can see the chat. Some stupid setting I had to turn on. It's really weird though
out the
how it
stream.
does that. I think I have my desktop audio on, don't I? Yep. Oh no, where'd my chat go? Oh, there it is. Bet. Alright. Share it out to Twitter. Sick. Sick. Just want to share the stream, man. That's all I want to do. There we go. Probably not the best time to do this though, because I know Sunday Night Football's tonight. Or geez, Monday. Wow. All right. Let's open up that project. I'll show you guys what I've been cooking up today. But yeah. Project 3. C4D file. Ooh. This, yeah, that must be this one. All right. Let's pray for no crashes today, huh? Let's pray for no crashes. Kind of give it a few minutes for people to get in here, if anyone's even going to come through. Yeah, let's wait and see. To delete these old ones. Give it about 5 minutes. Kind of wait for people to get in here. See how it goes. No, last time there was a few in here. Yo, what's up, Zach? Chat, what's happening, bro? What's up, guys? We'll start in a few minutes. I'm just gonna kind of give it some time for people to join, people that wanna watch live. It's honestly not, I won't be on for too long. It'll probably be like a half hour, 45 minutes. That's what I'm gonna hope for. I think last time it was almost 2 hours. So we're gonna try to minimize that this time around. So yeah, we'll give a little bit people to get in here, and then at the end I'll kind of show you what I'm spicing up for my own kind of creative pitch, I guess, for Super Bowl 55. Kind of almost done the first scene. Need to work more. Need to archive the stream. Appreciate it, Zach. Am I still in school, chat? Actually, I just graduated college. Just graduated college, man. I'm done. Dunzo. How bad or how good is the playback time for you guys? Is it pretty current with when you guys type and I respond? If not, I'm sorry. I'm not really sure how to fix that. Okay, seems to be like everything's good. It's good? Okay, sweet. Cool. I just wanted to make sure. I would hope it would be good because of all the money I spent on this damn computer. But yeah. We'll give people a few more minutes to get in here, which I don't expect much. And then yeah, we'll kind of get started from there. It probably looks complicated right now. Let's see which cameras. Some of these are just my animated camera. Oh no. Are these the same shot? Yeah, they have the same shot. Okay. Okay, cool. Cool. Zach, bro, how's the internship? Are you still doing the internship? I mean, I see you're still doing the FSU social media stuff, but I didn't know how long that internship went for, if it was like a summer thing or it's like a yearly thing. I honestly wish my school kind of had something like that, some sort of intern position, but it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. Cool. Dude, yeah, I've been job searching. I just applied to Amazon as a delivery driver, just for like a part-time job, and then freelance the rest of the days. You know, just kind of doing whatever, man. Trying to survive, pay for these damn subscriptions. Actually, I'm still on a student subscription for this, so praise the Lord for that. Because Cinema 4D is like $100 a month with Redshift and Red Giant, which is it's honestly a really good deal. You're getting 3 major applications for $100. Hardly any stream delay. Awesome. That's really good to know. I'm not dropping any frames either, so that's great. Computer might explode though. It was getting a little hot earlier from me working. My computer crashed a lot. It didn't crash, but Octane did crash. Alright, so let's just kind of hop in here then, I guess. Before we do the live viewer, we're gonna kind of show, obviously you guys have seen the camera movement. It's not really real time. It's a little bit behind. There should be FPS here. I don't know why it's not there. Probably gotta re-enable it. But yeah, that's basic animation. Now, if I didn't have Octane, the grass that's here, right? Let me get out of my camera. The grass that you saw in the animation, like all this is being added. Whoa, I don't like that at all. This is all being added into the render only, not in the picture viewer, so it saves segments. As you can tell, there's no polygons happening. This is just all invisible to the picture viewer, so it doesn't affect any playback time, which is pretty sweet. And then let's go into this camera. This was the initial frame that I had set up, so I guess we'll just kind of enable. Please don't crash, Octane, I beg of you, please don't crash. Oh, thank God. So this was the initial frame that I had, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know, I'm not really feeling the whole big W up there, so I decided to go basically on the inside of the W. That's just kind of the way I went with it, from inspiration. And obviously if I was to like have to bring it out to this frame, I'm able to still do that with what I have set up. And it shouldn't be too hard of a camera movement if I ever had to. And then the background's pretty basic. I'll kind of go more into that once I get there. So we'll kind of start in camera 3. As you can see, I have alpha channel on. And basically what that does is it makes it so that there's no background, so that I can add whatever background I want to in post. And as you saw from the initial animation, the background was actually a sky, which was just a JPEG that I animated to kind of make it feel like a part of the scene without feeling like it wasn't a part of the scene, if that makes any sense. Obviously, if you have bright lighting, you don't want a dark sky because that just wouldn't make any sense. Vice versa, the other way around. And we'll kind of go into object buffers and stuff like that soon. So the first shot, right, I kind of, before I animated cameras, I set the positions where I thought the camera might look good. And from the inspirations that I pulled, a lot of these kind of tight shots with like a slight angle up or slight angle down, kind of at like a 35-degree angle, 25-degree angle, was kind of what I was going for like every single shot. You can see it's never truly flat except for like maybe right there, but then it goes right back to its angled close-up shot. And we'll kind of talk about how I composited everything in a minute. The textures are very, very simple. You know, you have a glass object with a roughness texture that you're putting in the roughness channel, which basically puts splotches. Depending on what JPEG you're using, it'll put a splotch here and there. So some of the glass is going to be really shiny, other parts is going to be really rough. It kind of creates that imperfection because nothing in society is perfect, right? So always having that imperfection kind of helps the eye a little bit, and things being symmetrical is not really a thing in society either. I mean, it can be for like from a building perspective, but even then there's still imperfections that make it stick out, which is what I kind of went for with this pillar, kind of giving it some noise. What's it, this one? Yeah, I kind of gave it a dirt on the roughness, and then this one, oh god, okay, it didn't crash. This one I have a normal map, which basically is a better version of a bump in my opinion. I don't really use bumps that much, so yeah, that's that. Textures, pretty simple. It's kind of hard to explain how textures work. You just gotta kind of get in there and do it. And then when it comes to the grass, we have this octane scatter. So let's, ooh, hold on, get on out of there. The H, that did not do what I wanted it to do, but I think we can make it work. By the way, I use 1, 2, and 3 to orbit around my scene. 3 is to rotate, 2 is to zoom in, and 1 is to basically your X coordinate. 2 is basically your Z, and then 3 is like X and Y, but just rotating on a point. So let me turn these on. As you can, so these are the 5 pieces of grass that I have. They look very low res. Never trust what you see in here. Always trust what you see in either if you have Octane or Redshift in this viewer, or if you're in standard. Always trust the actual render. Never trust what you see in here because it's never going to be the same. So I have, what is this, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different planes with a leaf, and then you put that in the octane scatter, and basically what that does, this is just hiding it from the picture viewer so it doesn't affect speeds. What that does basically is only gets rendered out in here in your actual render and not in your picture viewer, so you save, you know, real-time animation if you have to. And what sometimes you will have to do is also 23 changed, I think. Yeah, viewport renderer is what it's gonna be if you're in R23. Sometimes you'll have to push a very low res output for viewport renderer, and basically if you put that to like 960 by 540, it's gonna render extremely quick. Textures will not take long to render. Sometimes there's a workaround to turn off textures so you can just get animation right, and then you render it to the viewport, and then you can play back real time and get your animation right. It's kind of a heavy process regardless. There's no cheat or easy way for animation depending on what's in your scene. Usually I'll start with modeling, then I'll go to texturing, and then I'll usually do animation last. But sometimes that varies between project. If I know it's going to be heavy on texturing, I'll do animation first, but it's kind of rare that I ever do animation before texturing, because what's the point of getting up close to something if you don't know what the texture looks like, right? So there's no real workaround for that. What else? So that's kind of that. As you can see, it's just Washington's W. I'm very excited to see what logo they decide and team name that they decide to go with moving forward. I think I'm hearing from just social media, I think they said by mid-season next year. So we'll kind of see what happens. And then always what you guys want to do is always bevel. If you don't bevel, you're not going to pick up those little tiny highlights that you see in the animation that I did. So always pay attention to those. Always pay attention to that. Small detail goes a long way. Alright, so now let's kind of get into the object buffering. So for standard, there's a lot of ways to do it. For standard, what you would have to do is go to, I always forget where it is. I just go through each one until I find it. Render tags, compositing tag, object buffer, and then enable these, right? So if you wanted to have these two panels on the same buffer, you would enable buffer 1, come up to settings, you're in standard, you would go to multi-pass object buffer, and then you get group ID 1, which would be that guy right there. So just kind of showing you what I used to do when I was in standard, in case anybody was wondering. That's how you do object buffers. But for Octane, how I do my object buffers, we'll kind of go into detail here right now. I use EXRs, which basically stores all of your information into one file, which makes it pretty big. But either way, if you were to do them all separately or all together, it's going to even out regardless. This is just kind of saving you folder space and not having to scroll through just to find your buffers and stuff like that. It's all stored in one file. The only issue with that is if your cinema was to crash and you have to reopen it, then you got to worry about what frame did it crash on, and then where you're going to pick it back up, because then when you're in post, you're going to have to basically composite those two different renders together, because you're going to run into issues when it comes to object buffering, and I'll kind of show you that in here in a second once we go over to After Effects. So you have your main pass and your denoise pass. And your denoise beauty for Octane, there's always going to be noise in the scene, so having a denoise pass kind of reduces that a little bit. I don't know much about the sampling for it yet, but I know the basic, settings kind of always get the job done for me, and having a little bit of noise is never an issue. Because even in real life, like, nothing is perfectly clear. Like, even in broad daylight, you're still going to kind of see some noise kind of hanging around. But as you can see the difference from this shot to this shot, I don't know if the stream's kind of doing it justice or not, but here you have a lot of these little blurry pixels going on, and then here it kind of really cleans up a lot of those and kind of bunches them all together. And then you're always going to have your passes too, so a reflection pass, even if you're not going to use it, I would still say have a reflection pass just in case. A noise pass, not really going to need it. I think it's there by default. I could be wrong though. And then this is where the object buffer comes into play, which would be under crypto passes, crypto material node. Basically it's based off of the names of these materials, which is creating these different color object buffers, and I'll kind of show you how that works inside of After Effects. It's actually really easy to do in After Effects, and this is the way that I've always done it, and I probably will always do it this way. It's just a little bit of extra work of having to name all your materials, which you should do anyways, but when I'm like in the workflow like mood, I kind of forget to do that, so I always save it for last. Depending on if you're gonna do in-camera motion blur and in-camera Z-depth pass, this is where this may or may not come in handy. So for something like this animation that I did, it's gonna mess up the UV coordinates, which are these, which has information of position, scale, all that stuff. Doing the Z-depth pass before you render is going to brutally ruin these pixels. So that's something to keep in mind if you're thinking of a fast workflow where you can do more in post like what I did. And then you have your motion vector pass, which is your motion blur. There wasn't much of that in the animation, just because the free one that After Effects offers is honestly kind of terrible, and I want to upgrade to a better one, but just don't have the money for it. And then here you have your ambient occlusion pass, which for Octane you don't really need. That's more for, I would say, standard and physical renderer. It's not really required for Octane, but it's it's never a bad thing to have because you might need it at one point. You just never know when you're gonna need it. So always kind of having that in the back of your brain is always needed. And then for Octane, always have your stuff set to sRGB and tone mapped. That's just giving you a different color channel, because in After Effects, that's what this uses, is sRGB and tone map, not linear. You can use linear, and then you're just gonna have to color correct it, but that's just an extra step that I never want to have to go through, so I just make it right in the first place. And then with the new Octane version, I noticed that HDR tone mapped kind of affects your buffers very differently. I haven't really figured out why it does that yet. The thing with Octane is and Redshift, a lot of the stuff out there, like, you're just never gonna find it because not everybody runs into the same problem all the time, right? So if you can figure it out yourself, great. If not, you gotta try and find a way. If you can't, then you gotta find a different way of how to do something. But yeah, the models are pretty simple. You just have the W Washington, and then I got some screws off of Turbo Squid for free. I'm not big in modeling unless I have to. It's good to know the basics, like extrusion of text, extrusion of other things, but a lot of the time either you're going to be given a model or you're going to have to purchase a model for a relatively good price or get one for free, which I'll show you on the project I'm working on right now. That kind of helped me get around that curve, so I didn't have to waste hours of doing something. It really does save a lot of time, and then it's up to you at that point. Sometimes you have to model, there's not a choice, but I always give the client a choice of what to do. And then obviously naming layers is pretty important too, because if you ever have to pass this over to someone else, it's important. But for personal projects, I name them to what I like and what I would read. But obviously if I was to give it to someone else, I would completely rename everything and make it easy enough for them to understand and quickly get around and stuff like that. So that's kind of the Cinema 4D workflow for me. Always start with modeling, go right to animation after that. To texturing, and then animation for me always usually comes last because sometimes you run into some issues. And a lot of it's just, problem solving. That's what basically being a motion graphic designer comes down to. How can you find a unique way to be different than someone else, or how can you find a unique way to solve a problem without having to waste an insane amount of time. So that's the I'm not gonna save. So now we're gonna go into the After Effects comp, and I'm gonna kind of show you two comps that I have going on here. One was Terry McLaurin, and then the other one was Antonio Gibson. Obviously the touchdown animation stayed the same, but you can update that on the fly and then re-render the whole project, which takes like 5 minutes to do. So I will show you that right now. Let's start, and once it opens up, the UV plugin. It's a little buggy for being free. Obviously, since it's free, you can get it on AE scripts. It's really good for free, but there are issues with it that I don't like, which is pushing me to buy the plugin version. But the issue with that is if I'm working on a team and they don't have that plugin, then there's going to be an issue of compatibility problems. So let's go to Antonio Gibson, and we'll kind of walk through what I did here, and I'll take it off a dual screen so you guys can see all my comp layers for this project. I'll wait for it to load. As you can see, there's my sky. Where'd it go? There's my sky. Blurred it just a little bit to match everything else, and as you can see, as you go, it feels a part of the scene. Like, that sky is what's lighting everything. It would be really weird if I had a dark sky in there with this much light. It just wouldn't make any sense. So as you can see up here, we have this little pixelation going on, but in real time, animation, you're not really gonna see that, so it's not too big of a deal. And then with compression and stuff, it kind of hides that a little bit, but it's just annoying that it's like that. And yeah, we'll kind of start showing everything off. So let's, where do I want to start? Where do I want to start? Okay, so let's start here. Is this it? No, that's the opposite side. Yeah, so we'll start here. So what you need to do first is you want to import your EXR file into your After Effects file, which you guys know is Command I or Control I, and then import the EXR. And then once you have that on a layer, you want to bring in the extractor, which is Effect 3D Channel Extractor, and then you want to grab your UV pass, because this is where we're going to be comping in the animation or the template or whatever. So then you have that. You want to make a duplicate of it, and then instead of having an extractor, you want to delete that, and then go to Effect 3D Channel Crypto Matte. So what that does is, hold on, let me turn that on. So what that does is it gives you all the information of all of your materials, which creates object buffers. So if I wanted, make sure you're selected on this. If I wanted this to be an object buffer, I'd click there, boom, highlights it white, change it to matte only, turn it off, luma matte it, boom, you're good to go. But since we had to object buffer this plane, gosh, it is slow. Object buffer this plane, I selected that, turned it off. So what that does is, back to matte. What that does is it locks in this information for this UV, and then what you have to do is you have to pre-comp these two into its own comp, which is what I need, player 1 UV. And then when you go back in here, what you're gonna have, what you're gonna have is you're gonna have this. Well, obviously if it's on normal, it's gonna be different. So next you need to make sure you have this plugin downloaded, FTUV Pass. It's, like I said, it's alright. It could be a lot better in my opinion, but for being free, it definitely gets the job done. For a lot of stuff, I think it could be a lot better. Maybe they'll come out with an update where it kind of fixes that. I noticed it has a lot of issues with beveling, which is what's going on up here. But once again, you're not really going to notice that when it's in real time, and then compression is going to kind of take that away. So it's not too big of an issue, unless you want to start nitpicking things. So that's how you kind of do it for all three. And then, so what I did, right? So since this is what it looks like in normal, and I'm like, I don't like that, because I wanted these grids in the back here. So what I did was and it wasn't getting any reflection. So I just set it to overlay, and honestly, it kind of was a happy accident. It just kind of worked out. So I just kind of left it. And I think this might be a possible workflow for a lot of stuff that I do moving forward, when it comes to, players on teams or things like that. But I know sometimes doing it all inside of Cinema is what the client might want, and you'll have to mention, hey, render time takes longer, or it's just going to take time to re-render all of these scenes, and when displaying real time, you don't notice the imperfections going on. So that's just kind of how it goes for all three of these. Once again, this is what I was talking about over here, where my render stopped at frame 98 and had to continue over. So I had to basically do a repeat of all of those object buffers all over again over here. And as you can see, you still get these imperfections from that roughness that I had on still going on, and the reflections still showing through even on overlay. So it definitely does a really good job. And I think that's definitely something I'm going to use moving forward. So since it's on overlay, the color of it on normal is going to be different, because putting it on the mode is going to change the color, so you need to kind of match that, or fake the color so that it looks right on overlay, if that makes sense. Next, added a lens flare up top to kind of give it more of a sunny feel, I don't believe I animated it anywhere, so it's just kind of at one spot the whole time, but I think it does a good job of kind of bringing some color in, some light in, just to kind of fake a sun in there, and I think it does a good job. So I was happy with that. And then I usually always put a lumetri color on, and as you can see, depending on what you're doing, it'll vary. And I always put this on last, and it kind of helps blend everything together. And I think it did a pretty good job. I think it basically just kind of darkened everything, but left other things light. So I was okay with it. I didn't really have an issue. So that is my color correction, mostly because a lot of it's already done in Cinema for you with Octane. So there's not much object buffering color correction you have to do. So then we come down to the... Oh, I don't think I didn't do that. No, I don't think that's going to change anything. Okay, so then for the camera and motion blur, you have a camera lens blur. You have your camera blur, which is this. This is going to be your Z depth pass, right? So everything that's in that white is going to be out of focus. Everything in the black is in focus. I'm still trying to figure out how Z depth pass works, but for the most part, I think it does a pretty good job in post. I think you'll definitely get better results inside of Cinema, but once again, this is because I did UV coordinate stuff, so I had to do it in post. But anything else that isn't related to this, I do it in camera, which is where you have to kind of think to yourself, all right, what's gonna work here, what's gonna work there, and why is it gonna work better. So this is just all basically for me continuously testing one frame at a time, seeing what worked best before I actually pushed out the whole render, because that would be a waste of time, not only for me but for a potential client as well. So that's just kind of how my workflow works when it comes to UV coordinate stuff. It may seem confusing, but it's pretty simple. So here, same thing. Basically all I did was I made a second folder called Terry McLaurin and copied all of the comps and renamed the comps to Terry so it would make sense. Now granted, you probably don't have to do this. You could probably just stay inside of one folder and just go back into that comp and change it to what you need to. But I like to have folders of each player just because it just makes life easier if you have to grab and switch something out, whether it was an interception or, you know, sack or touchdown or safety, whatever the case might be. So this is the same scenario. A lot of you kind of probably already know how to do a stroke animation and have it animate in. So that's kind of how my process works for this one. There wasn't really any dynamics involved or cloth simulation. Still kind of working on getting better at those, but you know, that stuff comes with the more you practice, right? So the more time I spend on this stuff, the easier it's going to kind of become. So yeah, that's kind of how that works for this specific project. And I kind of kept it on under 40 minutes, like I said. I'll kind of show you, let's not save. I'll show you what I'm currently working on. You guys can let me know what you think so far. It's like we don't know who's going to the Super Bowl, but I'm just doing on who I think is going. So in the AFC, I have the Chiefs going right now, which could change over the weeks, but for this specific style frame build, this is what I'm going with. Haven't decided if I'm going to render the whole thing out yet, or if I'm just going to do a frame by frame snapshot and then just upload that to social media and whatnot. So as you can see, like there's like, dude, there's nothing even going on here. Like, what are you talking about? Well, Octane is not friendly with the perspective view. So when you need to check textures and stuff, you always got to send it here. So this is what I'm working on right now. This is what I have going. You guys can let me know what you think. Yeah, I probably should make these red, but I'm thinking based off of the Super Bowl 55 logo, which is right here, and from Google, it actually has that blue tint in it, going back to a few Super Bowls ago. They kind of had that same blue tint going on. So this is what I'm rocking with. The trophy, like I said, I did not Ooh, I don't think I even put a metallic on the laces up there. Or maybe I did, and it just looks like that. Whatever. Yeah, so the trophy I did not model. I found one free on the internet, and then I came back and I fixed it myself. I had to add the badge in with extrudes and using a bend deformer. Had to bevel it, had to do a whole bunch of stuff to get it looking right and as close to the Lombardi trophy as possible. Now, if I had the actual money, I would have just bought the model and not had to do anything, but you know, I don't have that money, so I gotta work with free stuff for now. And this piping down here, free. So just a lot of simple things, you know, just trying out different camera movements, different kind of compositions. This was one comp that might get added or something like that, where, you know, you have the two teams and then it flies into the scene. Like I said, I'm not really sure where I'm going with the animation yet. This is a close-up shot of Mahomes. Now, granted, this is very strong right there, but you know, it's honestly, I don't mind it. Like, it doesn't bother me. Like, it's more about what the shot looks like, and I think the shot looks beautiful with Mahomes inside of this kind of teal blue going on. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate that. Means a lot. And then when we come out of the camera, these are going to be panels on both sides. I haven't decided who the NFC team is going to be yet. I'm leaning towards the Packers. That's where my head's at. If you guys think of any other team that might be good, that would be dope to know. But as you can see, like right now, like I don't have, like there's no glare. The glare is only coming on the camera because I have post-processing turned on with the bloom, which, you know, affects differently. And then you can add a render pass to add that in post and whatnot. I think what I might have to do is rotate. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I might try to take this HDR back into Photoshop and try to desaturate that light. NBC or Fox? Think so? You know, it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe add their logo somewhere in here. Maybe I could have a door that is Fox, that says Fox on the door, and then it splits open into this. That would actually be pretty cool. I never thought about that. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Is the Super Bowl usually on NBC or is it usually on Fox? Because I think that'll determine which direction I take this when it comes to like adding the logo of the broadcast. I think it's usually on NBC. No, yeah, NBC, because they're usually Sunday Night Football. I don't know. Let's see what Google says. Fox. Okay, that makes life a lot easier. The fact that it's Fox, but yeah, this is what I have going. There's a lot of things I'm gonna change. I think. I kind of want to add some. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but there's a lot I still need to add. This is only one player. I gotta add like Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce, Le'Veon Bell if I can find on CBS. Really? The one I'm looking at. Oh wait. Maybe that was for the one that just happened. Yeah, I think that was for the one that just happened. I think it was on. Oh yeah, it was on Fox. Whoa. It was on Fox this past year. Okay, so you're thinking it's gonna be on CBS? I actually have never thought about that. Like, do you think they rotate every year? Or is it whoever pays the most money gets it? But yeah, this is what I'm rocking with. I pulled inspiration from a guy named Kyle Smith. So yeah, that's kind of what I got for you guys. I'm pretty excited about this project. I think I'm gonna do maybe another style, but different than this. Maybe more white, like not as dark. I'm not too sure. Yeah, that seems logical. Whoever pays the most. Thanks, man. Yeah, the lighting came out good. What did I use? I used a studio. Hey, what's up, cute? Thanks for coming through, man. Just a simple underlight. Could probably change it if I wanted to, but I don't think I'm gonna. And then on here, this was edited in Photoshop. Like I said, I think I can maybe bring down that brightness on that light right there. I'm gonna try it out probably once I get off here, or maybe probably tomorrow. I think I'm gonna go watch the Monday night game downstairs. But yeah, this is what I got. Did my workflow kind of help? I know it probably seems kind of confusing, but it's not as confusing as it looks. I think it's just a matter of inside of cinema is where the confusing happens for the most part, because I don't think everyone really knows how to create objects that make the materials nice, and texturing is like huge. Lighting and texturing is huge, and I think I'm at the point now where like I'm kind of getting good at it, but I still have a long way to go. So yeah. I'm excited to finish this and render it out, and you know, I'll probably add a lens flare up here like usual, something small. So I'm pretty excited about this project. I'm pretty stoked for when I'm going to be done with it and then share it with everyone. I think it might be another kind of trendy blow up tweet of mine. Not to say that my stuff blows up at all. I just think people just like my work, and I also think my work's not even that good compared to the people that I talk to that work actually in the industry. But I think I'm definitely heading in the right direction. But I think on that note, I'm gonna end the stream. I kind of thought there'd be more people here tonight, but that's okay. Everyone's probably watching the game anyways. So if you guys aren't new, you don't even have to subscribe. I'm gonna be honest. I usually just stream my workflows every now and then, and that's really all. So Zach, thanks for coming through. I appreciate it. I know you're trying to get better at cinema, which I don't know if you have. You should be able to get it through your school for free with a student subscription, so you might want to look into that and check that out. But yeah, this is what I got going so far. Might change with the colors over here. The reason why I kept these colors too is to fit the theme of Super Bowl 55, but the sides are going to be the colors. Yeah, light's not even that bad though, because like you can use it to learn the basics of cinema with only paying for After Effects if you even pay for it. But I think you're probably for free through school. So like there's a lot you can do in light, but there's a lot you can't do in light. But to learn the basic understanding of how to model, how to put a scene together, like you can do a majority of that inside of Cinema 4D Lite, which is pretty sweet in my honest opinion. Like having the full version is awesome, and having Octane is great, but to learn the basics, like for rather than spending $100 on the application, you're spending 25 with the student discount or 0 with the student discount. That's pretty rad. So I'm actually gonna head out though, guys. Thanks for coming through. For those who did, hopefully, you know, a few other people might go back and watch the stream. But yeah, that's kind of it. If you guys have any questions on like potential texturing, I might be able to help. I'm kind of out of it with standard cinema. I know some of the stuff from the materials, but some of it I just don't. Kind of the big things in standard is gonna be, it's totally different from this. But roughness is gonna be huge. Normal maps are gonna be huge. Displacement maps you can kind of not use because it eats up a lot of render time. And then HDRIs are going to be like your bread and butter for lighting for the most part, and area lights, not really omni lights. And then if you can use physical, great. If not, that's fine too, but I think physical will get you a better result than standard. But yeah. All right, guys, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to some of you guys on Twitter per usual. You know, I'm always there to help. So you guys have a great night, and yeah, peace.